The Mahabharat Reading 1. Bowing in devotion to the Most High, to common and ideal humans indeed, to Goddess Saraswati and Saint Vyas. The epic called Jaya would I read. The epic named Mahabharat is a work of Saint Vyas. On the advice of Lord Brahma, Saint Vyas requested Lord Ganesha to be the scribe of this epic. Lord Ganesha complied with his request and wrote at Saint Vyas's dictation. Thus the great epic was given a written shape. The story of Mahabharat starts with the most famous and powerful Kaurava ruler named Dushyant. Who does not know that Dushyant married Shakuntala, the foster daughter of Saint Kanav? Shakuntala was born to Menaka, a nymph of Indra's court, from Saint Vishwamitra, who had fallen in love with her at the very first sight. Shakuntala, due to a curse uttered on her by Saint Durvasa, had to remain deserted by her husband after a brief honeymoon in the forest, where a son was born to her. Having grown up among fierce animals of the forest, Shakuntala's son was unbelievably brave and courageous. As the blood of a great king like Dushyant flowed in his veins, he possessed enviable dignity, charm, and captivating manners as well. This son of Shakuntala was Bharat. Coming events, they say, cast their shadows before. Even as a small child of 5 or 6, Bharat used to play with lions, tigers, leopards, and elephants. Not only this, he used to open their mouths and count their teeth, and sometimes to tie them with a tree, using some improvised rope. Shakuntala, whenever she saw her son doing such things, could not help believing that he was bound to be a great ruler one day. The effect of Saint Durvasa's curse having been over, Dushyant brought Shakuntala and his son to this palace, and in due course Bharat succeeded to the throne of his father. He emerged a very powerful ruler who made large conquests, and as a result his fame spread far and wide. He assumed the title of Chakravarti Samrat, a universal emperor, and so our country came to be called as Bharatavarsha after his name. Of all the rulers that Kuru dynasty had produced, so far Bharat was matchless from every angle. He excelled all his ancestors in bravery, fortitude, religiousness, and care for his subjects. Emperor Bharat was credited with another landmark that went a long way to make our country unique. He was the first ruler to initiate the institution of democracy in those immemorial times. Bharat was a highly far-sighted ruler who could think much ahead of his times. He wanted that his dynasty could have been the ablest possible rulers only if every new king came to be elected or selected on the basis of his merits. He believed that it was not necessary that the son of an able and powerful ruler should be like him. He could be a weakling and incapable of being a good ruler. The story goes that none of Bharat's sons were worthy of succeeding to his powerful throne. They all lacked the qualities that were essential to making a successful and a popular ruler. So he decided to violate the old practice regarding the succession to the throne. In other words, he chose to go against the dynastic tradition in the interest of his dynasty itself and of the empire that he held under his sway. After consultations with his nobles and under the guidance of his royal priest, Bharat decided to deprive his sons of the throne. He started searching for a suitable candidate who could prove a successful heir to his throne. His search ended when he found that eldest son of Saint Bharadwaj was quite fit for being a successor. He made an unusually surprising announcement in his court. I, Bharat, the universal emperor, set aside the claim of my sons to my throne because of their incapability, and appoint the eldest son of Saint Bharadwaj as my regent, so that he may succeed me as the next ruler of my empire." Unfortunately, things could not go well after the death of Bharat for long. His successors failed to preserve the integrity of his large empire, and in due course it came to be reduced to a mere principality, a kingdom of medium size. This kingdom had its capital at Hastinapur. The regular saga of the epic of Mahabharat starts with King Shantanu, who was a ruler known for his valor and wisdom. One day, he went out hunting to a nearby forest. Reaching the bank of Ganga, he got down in his chariot to have a stroll. Gazing at the vast stretch of the river, he was startled to see an indescribably charming damsel appearing out of the water and then walking on its surface as if she was walking on land. Her grace and divine beauty struck Shantanu at the very first sight, and he was bewitched to the backbone. Taking courage, the king addressed the damsel, saying, "May I know who you are, O lovely maiden?" "Why are you asking me that?" retorted the maiden curtly. "Having been captivated by your loveliness, I, Shantanu, king of Hastinapur, have decided to marry you, as I have never seen a beauty like you even in my fancy," said Shantanu. "I can accept your proposal provided that you are ready to abide by my 2 conditions," argued the maiden. "Let me know what those conditions are," asked the king. The damsel narrated her conditions as follows. The first being that he would never ask her who she was and where she had come from, and the second being that he would never check her from doing anything or ask the reason of anything that she did. For a moment, Shantanu was not plussed, but the maiden's beauty had so awfully gripped his senses that he could not help accepting the above stated 2 conditions. So he said, "I accept your conditions and promise to abide by them to the letter, O lovely damsel." The damsel got ready for the wedding, and they entered into love marriage, Gandharva Vivah, then and there. Things went on quite smoothly for some time after Shantanu's marriage to the Ganga, as the damsel came to be popularly known. In due course, Ganga gave birth to a lovely male child. The king, overjoyed to hear the birth of his son, rushed to the palace. He felt astonished when he saw the queen was taking the newborn into her arms to the bank of the river in order to drown it in the flowing water. Though the king felt miserably shocked, yet he could not do anything except watching helplessly what the queen had done. He was bound by his pledge not to question or interfere with her actions. Hardly had Shantanu recovered from the shock of the death of his first son at the hands of his queen when she became expectant again. The king came to know of it and felt happy, expecting that the queen would not repeat her dreadful action this time. But that was not to be. As soon as the second son saw the light, the queen took it into her arms, marched to the river bank, and led it off to be drowned. The king, who had followed the queen at her heels, was struck by immense grief, but his pledge barred him to say anything or to do anything. It was 5 times again the queen repeated this ghastly action. Thus the king lost his 7 sons, one after the other. The reader can well imagine how heartbroken the king would have felt because of his dual suffering. Firstly, the loss of his sons was back-breaking shock itself. Secondly, the inability to force him to avert the shock or even express it was even tougher thing to tolerate. But his patience was totally lost now. He had made up his mind to violate his pledge. When Queen Ganga bore the 8th son, marched to the river as before, the king chased her hotly. As soon as Queen projected her arms to drown the child, the king thundered from behind her, "Stop it! Do you know what you have doing? What do you want to do after all? Do you intend that I should die without an heir, and that my line should come to an end as soon as I disappear from the scene? I won't let you do it after all. I am his father. How can I see my own flesh and blood being decimated before my eyes? Hearing what Shantanu had said, the queen remarked, You have violated your pledge, O king. Now I won't stay with you at all. But before leaving you, I deem it my duty to open the entire secret before you. I am Ganga, the heavenly river. Once it so happened that Saint Vashishta got offended with 8 gods known as the Vasus. He uttered a curse on them to be born as humans on earth and undergo mental embarrassment. Hearing the curse, 7 of the Vasus implored the saint to be excused, but the 8th, who was the most mischievous, kept on standing rudely. The saint remarked, Of all the 7, you will die and come back to heaven as soon as you are born, but the 8th rude fellow will live a long life on earth to suffer untold mental as well as physical tribulations. In order to salvage my 7 Vasus, I had to assume the form of Ganga and marry you. My job has now finished, and so I must go back to the heavenly abode. I'm taking your 8th child with me to bring him up so that he may become potent enough to bear the affliction supposed to befall him because of the curse. When he is amply grown up, I shall come back and hand him over to you. Saying so, the queen flew away into the sky along with the newborn. King Shantanu felt very disappointed and returned to his palace, weeping over his bad luck in his heart of the hearts.